What's up, travelers? Steven here from Ginger on the Go. And did you know that you could save up to 20% on your trip to Italy? I'm about to share with you 10 insider hacks on how to save money when in Italy. And Italy is one of my favorite countries. I've been there at least 14, 15 times, so I've spent a lot of time there. I know these tips and tricks will help you save some serious cash. And if they do, like this video, subscribe. We're putting out new content every week that will help you travel smarter and better. But enough with the shameless plug. Let's dive in to how you can travel Italy on a budget. Let's go. First things first, let's talk about how to save money when eating in Italy. Forget the overpriced tourist traps and generic pasta dishes. Italy's culinary scene is a treasure trove of affordable delights if you know where to find them. Here's how to eat like a local without spending a fortune. First up, we have Pizza al Taglio. I'm going to butcher my Italian, you gotta forgive me. And this is rectangular pizza sold by weight, and it is a staple of Rome. You can head to local bakeries and buy this for as little as €2 a slice, and you can take it with you, snack on it throughout the day. It is cheap, it is good, and it is easy to carry around. So it is definitely a way to eat Italian cuisine without breaking the bank. Next, we have a trapanzino, which is like a pizza pocket stuffed with traditional Roman fillings. You have things like eggplants or meatballs or cheese, or there's a variety of things. But it's cheap, it's affordable, you can take it on the go, and it is delicious. The next one is my favorite, and that is an aperitivo. And what an aperitivo is, it's a before dinner snack you can find all over Italy. And the way it works is you go to a bar and you order a drink. And when you order this drink, it means you can eat all the food you want. A lot of bars will have buffets, some will just have little plates you can take. But if you're a budget traveler, you just order a drink and you eat until you're full. And then that's your meal for the night, and all it costs you was the price of a cocktail. So you get a cocktail and free food. It's amazing. I'm obsessed with it because it's cheap and I get a drink and I get food. Why would I not be obsessed with it? You should be obsessed with it too. Another way to manage your budget while eating in Italy is to eat your big meal at lunch. A lot of places will offer multi-course meals at lunch for a fraction of the price. I'm talking 15, 20 euros. That will sometimes include wine as well. You can eat a big meal at lunch, do an aperitivo in the evening, then your food for the entire afternoon will cost less than the price of just a normal dinner in Italy. So it's a great way to save money while experiencing the food and the culture without losing anything. But say you're really on a shoestring budget and you're just looking to save a little extra cash, another great way to eat in Italy without spending all your money is to head to local markets, buy produce, and make your own things on the go. My first time in Italy, I was poor. I barely had enough money to get there, so most of my meals were I went to a local market or a bakery, I'd buy some bread, I'd buy some meat, I'd buy some cheese, and then I would just snack on it all throughout the day. You're spending like 5-6 euros, and it's enough food to get you through the day. Of course, you're not getting massively full here, but you're surviving. And if you want to go crazy, spend 10 euros and then you can get massively full. But it's a great way to save a lot of cash. And the cheese, come on, it's Italy. We love cheese. And we can't talk about Italy without talking about desserts. Gelato, cannolis, all the best things. And if you get these things every day or multiple times a day, the prices will start to add up. So one tip to save some money on those things. Go off the major tourist track. Find some that are well priced on Google Maps, or just wander down little alleys and tiny streets and look for them there. They're probably better anyway because they're more local. A good way to know if it's real gelato is if it's piled high out of the container, it is not real gelato. That means they whipped it up so much that it has too much air in it, and that's coming from a local guide. Also, pistachio gelato, if it's green, it's not real pistachio gelato, because real pistachio gelato is brown. So there you go, 2 bonus tips right there to help you get the best gelato in Italy. You're welcome. All right, now that we talked about how to fill our bellies without breaking the bank, let's talk about how to get around Italy for a fraction of the price. And this is an area where travelers spend a lot of money, so these tips will help you. And trust me guys, getting around Italy does not have to be as expensive as it seems. And here are some top Italy transportation hacks for how to get around Italy on a budget. Okay, first off, trains. When you want to save money on trains, you should always choose regional trains. They are slower, but they are way less expensive. So say you can get from Rome to Naples for 12 euros instead of 40 euros or 50 euros. High-speed trains or trains owned by the government are definitely going to cost more. So always look for the regional trains. They're not as nice, they're not as comfortable, but they will save you money. And you can use that money you save to extend your trip in Italy or just add a little more comfort somewhere else. That being said, if you're on a big train journey, sometimes it might be worth it to see if you can find a cheaper ticket on a high-speed train, or if you don't have a lot of time and you don't want to spend one entire day getting from Rome to Venice, you might want to choose a high-speed train, do some research, figure out what train's best for you and meet your needs. And the best way to figure out these prices is to compare them. And one of the best ways to compare them is to use an app. Omnio is one of the best apps for comparing train travel. There's also Rome to Rio, a website that is excellent at doing it. And neither of them are giving me money. They're just websites and apps I use when I'm comparing ticket prices. So doing a little research is a key tip for anyone trying to get around Italy cheap. I've saved a lot of money over the years just doing 15 to 20 minutes of research on how to get from A to B the best and cheapest way and fastest way. It will definitely improve your travel skills, and it will help you learn more about the country, how to get around, where everything's at. And if you love what we're talking about, then just hit that subscribe button because there are a lot more on the way. If you are taking buses from city to city in Italy, then I recommend taking Flixbus. They're a budget bus company that I've used a lot in the past. They've always been good and reliable. It's not the best, most luxury experience, but it does get you from point A to point B for less money. And sometimes you can find bus tickets for as little as 2 euros, sometimes they're 30 euros. The prices vary a lot depending on the demand and the route. And I'm curious, what do you guys think about Flixbus? Let me know in the comments below because I'm sure people have a lot of divided thoughts on it. Now, within major cities, public transportation is your best bet. Rome's metro system is super easy to understand and super efficient. Avoid taxis when you can because they are usually overpriced, especially if they can tell that you are a tourist. You will get charged more. Instead, use the metros and buses to get around the city. Another alternative to taxis are apps like Free Now, which is basically like the Uber of Italy. They often run promos as well. So if it's your first time using it, you could get a discount or a free ride. And don't forget the power of your own 2 feet. A lot of cities in Italy are walkable. I've walked all over Rome, all over Florence, all over Naples, all over Venice. All these cities are very walkable and easy to navigate if you have just Google Maps. And it lets you see parts of the city you would never ever get to see if you were just taking buses and metros. Rome is famous for its neighborhoods, and a lot of them the metros don't go to. So you have to take buses, which are way more confusing to navigate than the metro. And it's just sometimes easier to walk. All right, another good option for getting city to city is to use Eurail. I talk about Eurail a lot. You can find everything explained about Eurail in the link above, and is a good option, but this is another place where you have to sit down and you have to do some math. You got to figure out your Italy itinerary, how many train trips you think you'll need. Then you can check out the Italy Eurail Pass and compare it with the price of just buying those tickets separately. You'll save a lot of money sometimes. It depends on your itinerary and when you're going and where you're going. So it is a way to help your budget in Italy, but not always. You have to sit down and figure it out. Okay, this is another tip I've mentioned a few times, and one I will keep on mentioning because it saves you a lot of money without you even really realizing it. And that is, before you get to Italy, open an account with Charles Schwab. Every time you withdraw cash from the ATM, they reimburse you all those fees at the end of the month. And when you draw money out of a foreign ATM, not only do you get the ATM fee, but you also get a foreign transaction fee. And these fees combined can be as high as 5 euros. So they refund you all that at the end of the month. Definitely a tip that will help you with your Italy budget. And a bank I've been using for years, and I highly recommend you do too when traveling anywhere in the world, because they do it anywhere in the world, not just Italy. All right, now let's talk about where to stay on a budget in Italy. And I know everybody knows what's coming first, and that is hostels. And I know a lot of people think hostels are a bit sketchy, but trust me, I've lived in hostels for a good 10 years of my life, and I've had mainly positive experiences. And Italy has some of my favorite hostels in the world. They have places like the Beehive and the Yellow and are a good place to meet other travelers, but also a good place to save some money. The Beehive, I haven't been there for a while, but they were doing free pasta nights. The Yellow has a bar that is pretty cheap. I've had a couple crazy nights at the Yellow. Bad. Good, but bad. And there's places like Plus Venice, which is outside the city center of Venice, but you're paying a fraction of the price of what you would pay to stay inside the city of Venice. And they run buses to and from every day. You have to pay for the bus. I can't remember off the top of my head how much it is, but it's definitely cheaper than staying inside the city. And that's another tip to save money when choosing accommodation in Italy. Stay outside the city center, stay outside the tourist areas. Rome is a great city for this because it has all these amazing neighborhoods like Travesti. Areas like that will often have cheaper accommodation than staying in a place that has a view of the Colosseum. It will really help you when you're learning how to travel Italy cheap. But with saying that, there are some things you need to take into account. Like say you're staying outside the city center where all the sites are, and it's $10 cheaper a night. Well, if it costs you $15 to get to and from the city, then you're not really saving money at all. You might as well just stay in the city. So that is something you should definitely take into account when booking a place. Another good way to save some cash and get a local experience are farm stays in Tuscany or Umbria. Imagine waking up with the Tuscan landscape just outside your window, the smell of freshly baked bread, and it's just bliss. These farm stays are cheaper than a hotel in a major city and a way to enjoy a quieter, more local experience. I did it right outside Siena and I loved it. I could take a bus to Siena every day and then back to the farm in the evening and just relax and unwind. I highly recommend checking them out. Okay, so we've talked about food, we've talked about transportation and accommodation, but now let's talk about how to see the sights cheaply, how to save some money when sightseeing in Italy on a budget, and there are some useful ways to do it. The first way to save money on any trip in Italy is to like this video. I gotta tell you to do it. I don't always want to, but I have to. So you'd be doing me a huge favor if you just like this video real quick. Ready to experience all the amazing Italian culture for a fraction of the price? And first up, we have free entry days, and that is a lot of sites all over Italy will be free to enter on the first Sunday of the month. I'm talking things like the Colosseum, Pompeii. Some of the biggest sites in Italy are free on the first Sunday of the month. So if you plan your trip right, you could go to the city with the most sites you want to see and knock them all off in a day for free. So it is one of the best and cheapest travel hacks on how to travel Italy on a budget, and definitely worth looking into. City passes are another way to save some money. These passes are little cards you buy that give you discounted or free entry to a lot of the sites in the city. You have the Roma pass, you have the Firenze card, and not only do they give you free or discounted entry into the sites, but they also give you free transportation. And they're set for time, so you can get a 3-day pass, a 5-day pass, a 7-day pass, a 24-hour pass. These passes are useful for saving some money if you have a lot planned in that time period, right? If you buy a Roma pass and you go see the Vatican and the Colosseum, you're probably not going to save money. But if you have a Roma pass and you take full advantage of it, you're going to save a lot of money. So you need to research a little bit to see if it is worth it for you. All you have to do is figure out what you want to see and then look at the price of those tickets and compare it to the price of a Roma pass. I'll often get these passes in a situation like that because I'm a sightseeing junkie, and having that pass actually puts a little pep in my step. I'm like, I paid for it. I want to make sure I'm saving money on it, so we are going for it. We're going to explore everything we can. So you could also use it as a little motivation to get out there and explore more. All right, free walking tours are a thing I've talked about before on my other videos, which you can check out in the description below. But free walking tours are a great way to see a different side of the city for a fraction of the cost. Well, it'll take you outside the sites, tell you the history of it. You don't go into the sites, but it's a free tour. And when I say free, it's not free actually. You should always tip your tour guide at the end of a free walking tour. They just took you around for hours in the heat and told you the history of a lot of places that they've done probably 100 times, but they did it with enthusiasm because they love their job, they love history. What's a good tip for a free walking tour? Well, 5 to 10 euros an hour depending on how good they are. So if they're taking you on a 3-hour tour and it's the best guide ever, then give them 30 euros per person. It's not a group thing. And if you don't want to tip them, then do a self-guided tour. You know, Google Maps is great for this. You can put in all the sites you want to see, where you're at, and it will make you a little route to follow. And then when you get there, just look up the history of the site, watch a YouTube video. And there's also just free places in Italy. Some of my favorite places in Rome, for example, are free, like the Pantheon. It's free to enter and it's beautiful, and you know, it's right by a lot of the main markets and squares in that area of Rome. So it's definitely worth checking out the free places. You'll save some cash and they're awesome. Other places to enter in Rome for free are churches. For example, the Duomo in Florence is free to enter. The Vatican City, not the museum, but the Vatican building itself is free to enter. And these are iconic sites, guys. And churches double as free art galleries. A lot of them are filled with paintings and statues and beautiful works of art, and it's all completely free to see. So if you can't afford a lot of the major museums and sites, then churches and free sites will often have almost just as stunning art for free. Another good way to take in the culture without breaking bank is to just relax and enjoy the atmosphere and people watch in the piazzas. You can sit there, have a drink, have a coffee, just take in the ambiance of the atmosphere of the city square, of the market, of the hustle and bustle. Another tip is when you get to the city, talk to the hostel staff or Airbnb hosts and ask them if they know of any free events, free meetups, free concerts that will give you a more local experience, because a lot of tourists don't usually go to them and you're not spending a dime. So it is a viable option that will set you a little bit off the beaten path and exploring Italy, which is what we want to do anyway. Another good way is to pick where you're going wisely, right? If you don't have a lot of money, well then there are a lot of small charming cities that are beautiful and a fraction of the cost of some of the major cities in Europe. For example, you have the Amalfi Coast and you have the 5 cities of Cinque Terre. Well, it's very expensive to stay in those cities, but that coast is littered with tiny little towns that you could stay at, drive to the city, walk between the 5 towns, drive back. You know, there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of rustic hill towns and cities like Assisi, which is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been in. And it's a lot cheaper than staying in downtown Florence or Milan or Rome. You can also head south in Italy. The further south you go, the cheaper it gets. Sicily is much cheaper than the northern part of Italy, and that's just because all the major tourist sites are in the north. And that is it, guys. That is our video on how to travel Italy cheap. And if this video helped you, please just hit that like button, subscribe if you want more travel tips like this every week. And let me know what you thought the best tip for traveling Italy on a budget was. That was a mouthful, but let me know what it was in the comments below. And until next time, travel with confidence.